MMAOddsBreaker Frank Trigg. Today we're talking to the President, World Series of Fighting, Ray Sefo, of course, one of my Muay Thai fighting coaches at the end of my career. Ray, you made for a while there, you were fighting and being the President of World Series of Fighting. And I kept asking you how you could keep it all together, because trying to be at home with your wife and kid and then trying to run the business from the day and then still train at night. I don't know how you kept the schedule together. Are you still trying to fight, or have you finally given it up?
No. I want to do a few more fights, and then I'm in the gym every day, regardless. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of guy that I can't function too well if I'm not in the gym. You know what I mean? And so for me, as long as I'm there and I'm motivated and I'm keeping up with the young guns, then it just tells me that I'm still there. I love competing. I'm not doing it for anything other reason than I love competing. I enjoy what I do, and it's a huge, stress reliever, if you will. You know what I mean? Because everything else that goes on in my life, it's always on the go, and sometimes you need that time to yourself. And I find the gym is where I have that time to myself, and I get to focus on just me and what I do, and get to help other young fighters with the journey that they're on. You know what I mean? So I love competing. I look to compete again. I don't think it's going to be the end of this year. I had something scheduled for the end of this year, but that fell through. So probably fight again early next year. But yeah, no, I love being busy. I've always been busy. And I enjoy it. I think it's one of these things where the day I stop still and do nothing, I'd probably be dead.
Are you looking to do MMA, or is it a Muay Thai fight you have coming up, or that you're looking to do?
I had it was a Muay Thai fight, but that fell through. It was going to be in Japan, and so at the moment I'm also talking to Lion Fights here in Vegas, and they're interested in something that I want to do as well. I haven't fought full Muay Thai rules for a while, so another challenge, great. It's nothing new, the fight game is a fight game, and so like I said, I love being busy.
Well, you are busy. You have another fight card coming up here for World Series of Fighting. It's titled USA versus Canada. Of course, main event is Jake Shields versus Ryan Ford. But you put together a pretty good card, with all things considered. You've been a fan of MMA for a very long time. Mama Ford became a trainer. Now you were training guys for a long time. You still train guys. Right. As you just said, now you're the president of World Series of Fighting. At what point is going to be the tipping scale where there's so much MMA on TV, so much MMA around, that the fans are just going to stop watching? Because right now it seems to be like they're catching on. They're still a little bit of an increase every show. But at some point, it's going to stop just because it's going to be so much going on. When do you think that tipping point is going to be?
I don't think it would ever stop. But, yeah, there is a point where I think it will slow down a little bit. But in saying that, MMA is still such a young sport. You know what I mean? Like, especially being on primetime television, the likes of NBC, for example. It's still a young sport in that sense. And so I think right now there's a lot of MMA, that's happening. And a lot of great shows, a lot of good fights. And the hardcore fans are always gonna tune in no matter what. And when you're on primetime television like the NBC and other networks, I think it will continue to grow and continue to create more fans as the people. I mean, you look at boxing, for example. Boxing is still alive today. People may say it's slowed down here and there. Absolutely, it has. But it's not dead. You know what I mean? And it's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so I don't think it would ever stop. I think it'll slow down a little bit. But I think we still have another 20 years of growth. And so, yeah, which is great for the athletes and great for the promotions.
What makes World Series of Fighting different than the other promotions? Because anybody could then basically just go, well, as long as you're on major TV, I can sign with that promotion. But what's going to make a fighter want to, a guy like Ryan Ford or Jake Shields, what made them want to come to you as opposed to going anywhere else that's out there?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's really not that much difference. Uh, there's three major networks, major companies,
Right.
World Series of Fighting, UFC, Bellator, who have television behind them or television partners, right? The likes of NBC, Fox, and Spike. So um, obviously, NBC and Fox, are much bigger networks, but still, at the end of the day, fighters are gotta want to fight on platforms, or on television, if you will. And um, right now, I'm a fighter. I always have, and I will always have the fighters' interests and always fight for them, which I constantly battle every day for the fighters that I have. Matter of fact, I just got off another phone call with a fighter who, I've released him to fight one fight elsewhere because we just don't. Right now, our schedule this year is not as busy as our schedule next year, for example. And so, these are the sort of things that I got to do to make sure that our guys stay active and keep them happy. And at times, it's not easy. But I got to do the right thing, and the right thing is to stand by the fighters every single time.
How many fights are you having? Because you just mentioned your schedule. How many fights are you having in 2013?
I believe we just got we have 16 dates.
16 dates for I'm sorry, but 2014.
15, you mean?
Yeah, there's 16 dates in 2015, but how many did you have in 2014? Or will you have with this next one?
We had one in March, and then we had June, July, August, September, October. It's going to be in Canada, November, December. So 8 shows this year.
Wow. And then you're jumping all the way up to 16 next year?
Right.
Wow. You're going to double up. And do you have enough fighters at this point to do it? And what about your commentating team? You're going to have to double up on commentating teams now? Because that's a lot of work in a lot of different places.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something we're going to have to look at too. And again, when you say, a lot of different places, this is where it allows us to go global. Already we would, had our partners fly in from New Zealand, Australia. Japan's already set. There's talks of Brazil, Mexico. I had a contact from another gentleman out of the UK. So in terms of being around the world, since we partnered up with IMG, we're now in over 90 countries around the world, which is, again, in 2 years is truly amazing, and very proud of the work that the team has done. Our team here at World Series of Fighting, our partners at IMG, NBC, and so on. And so, again, it's as it's running a business. It's like training camp. You're constantly on the go. You constantly got to be sharp, and you got to be on the bar every single time.
What's the reaction like and reception like from other promoters in different organizations? You get a little gruff, a little jealousy because you guys within 2 years have jumped so big from some of these other organizations?
No, I haven't. I haven't had any, animosity from anybody. And again, I'm the type of guy that I support the sport. I support anybody. If the UFC have done an amazing job promoting the sport. Bellator have done an amazing job promoting the sport. We are doing a great job promoting the sport. So for me, it's like, and now Scott Coker being over at Bellator, who's a good friend of mine. I support everybody out there. I had for example, Ali just signed a girl to fight Jessica Aguilar, and one of the representatives for, I believe it was XFC, reached out to me and said that this girl is under contract with him for 2 years. And so I didn't know anything about it, nor did Ali. And from her team, she's free to go. So I reached out to him, and Ali we made the phone call to the actual team for the girl, and they said that there's a clause in the contract that they signed that she can opt out anytime if a better offer came along. So I reached out to the gentleman again, and I said, listen, this is what I was told, and I think it's a situation now between you guys and the fighter. We're not going to, obviously we're not going to move until you guys resolve this. And again, it's, I wasn't saying, listen, you're shit out of luck. We got it, this and that. That's exactly not the way I operate, and it's not the way I want to operate, nor would I allow myself to operate that way. I want everybody to be treated fair. I want everybody to work together. I want everybody to make sure that, things is done by the book and done right.
Do you feel like there's sometimes with fighters that are new and upcoming that you can battle the other two organizations, that you're going to be able to come in financially and contractually and be able to give them a good enough deal that they might choose you over going to anybody else as far as the top three?
Well, at the end of the day, again, I would always look from a fighter's perspective, and I've been doing this too long and a very long time. Evan, to have had 101 fights and fought everywhere around the world. Earlier in my career, it was a constant battle. At the point where I had won 5 world titles at that point. I was getting $10,000 a fight.
Oh, wow.
That's with 5 world titles under my belt at the time. I won my 6th world title in K1. But at the same time, so again, if we can't offer the fighter, or let's say the fighter comes along, gets offered somewhere else, and he calls us and we give him a better offer, and then someone else comes along and they give him a better offer, I want that fighter to go to the best offer. You know what I mean? Because, listen, people don't understand, unless you understand this, you and I know what it takes to be in that cage. Yeah. You and I know the sacrifices, determination, the hard work, dealing with injuries, fighting through sickness. All this. A lot of people don't understand how tough it is to spend 10 weeks at camp for a fighter. So I want the fighter to take the best offer.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about this fight card you got coming up here. Shields and Ford, like I said before, is the main event. Rahman and Mehmet is the co-main event. Which fight on this card was the toughest one to keep together? Because every fight, every promotion has injuries. Guys get hurt. Guys got to pull out. Right. Which fight on this one was the toughest one to keep together?
Actually, I think we were really fortunate with this one. The whole main card on this one, just from the day it was set, it's been solid. Where we've had to, I think, let go of one or two other fights due to injuries and so on. And fortunately, that was the prelim fights. Okay. So with this one, we've been lucky.
How many fights are going to be on NBC Sport?
The NBC Sport will be 4 fights. 4 fights. Okay. And one of those fights is the title fight, which is the co-main.
Yeah, is the Rahman Mehmet fight, and then Horodecki, of course, and Huete is the swing bout. It's a great card. You've got a really good card. Plus, of course, we've got some of my fellow teammates over Extreme Couture in Las Vegas fighting as well. So I'm kind of biased, so it's tough for me to interview you. One, you were one of my coaches when I was coming through the ranks, and so and then you were a mentor at the very end of my career, kind of like this is how you make your transition. So it's always tough to interview you, and then to see my teammates on there. Right. I don't want to give too much pump because you do put a good enough card. You do give a lot of guys. And how hard is it especially when we're at the gym and you're working out with these guys, and these guys are going, they're hungry for fights, they want to fight, they know you have a card coming up, and they keep pounding on your door, to come in. And you're like, look, I'm sorry, man, I just can't do it. I don't have the space, the time. How hard is that for you to have to turn fighters down?
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard, but at the same time, that's where the business mind takes over. And for me, you've known me for years, and I'm the type of guy that what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And so I would never try and sugarcoat anything. It is what it is. And so, I just tell the guys, listen, I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, there's nothing that's, available right now. Nothing we can do right now. But next year we have a lot more, to work with. And so get a couple of fights and get a couple of wins under your belt, and let's see what next year brings.
Last question before I let you out of here. You've had 101 fights. I remember you said, well, I think I have to do 2 more fights before I get to my 100th. And then you were walking into your next one. You're like, oh, yeah, it's my 101st. Like, I lost count. Like, I missed track. I could never imagine being at that number. Of the 101, who's the one guy you truly didn't like when you went in there and fought? Or was there a couple guys you truly didn't like when you walked into a fight that you really want to give him a real old-fashioned beatdown?
I've never disliked anybody in terms of the fight. But there was a couple of fights that one was a fighter out of Brazil. He was a shoot boxer. I had gone, I saw him and his team. I want to say about 2 days before the fight or 3 days before the fight at breakfast, and being a heavyweight, you can have breakfast.
Yeah.
And so I see him, they're leaving where my team and I walk in. He and his team were leaving. So I said hi, and I go to shake his hand, wish him luck, and he just looked at me like I was a piece of shit and walked off.
Wow, really?
And listen, people hype themselves up differently. So, and I understand that. That being said, I make sure that was pay time was going to happen for real. And so the bout rang, and we went at it and knocked him out in a minute. Knocked him out in 30 seconds in the first round. So
kind of anticlimactic, to be honest with you. I know it was great at the time, like to hit a guy and make him fall down in 30 seconds, but you wanted to spend a little more time beating him up.
Well, yeah, exactly. I actually didn't. I mean, when it landed, he was actually out before he hit the canvas, and but I actually wanted to teach him a little bit more of a lesson. But it happens.
Yeah.
And then another guy, it was back in New Zealand. The guy I was climbing the rankings. I was a national champion at the time, and the guy claimed that he had 132 fights or 142 fights with 132 knockouts or something like that. And about 2-3 weeks before the fight, from what I hear from people, that he's telling everybody he was going to knock me out. So I went and confronted him, and I'm like, yo, listen, I heard this and this, and I just want to come to you and confront you with it. If you're saying these things, let's make it happen. Let's give it a good fight. But, you don't need to try and discredit me through whatever you're saying. You know what I mean? But that being said, the fight's going to happen in 3 weeks. So let's make sure that we give the fans a show. So, again, I kept at him so hard, and I knocked him out in 14 seconds in the first round.
Holy, 14 seconds?
Yeah.
That's like, for heavyweight standards, for the folks at home, for heavyweight standards, that's no filling out process, because by the time these two lumbering giants get from the corners, get to the center at 7 seconds, they each turn to the right. That's right there, you're at 9 seconds. By the time the first one goes, okay, time to throw, you're already at 12. Exactly. So it's like the first punch thrown, the guy falls down. Like, that's incredible.
As soon as the bell went, I went after him. Yeah, as soon as the bell rang, I went after him.
That's great.
And 14 seconds later, it was over.
All right, Ray, I appreciate you coming on here. That's the president of World Series of Fighting, Ray Sefo. October 11th is our next fight. Can be seen on NBC Sport. It's going to be a great card. Once again, you put together a great television card. Where can we watch the prelims if you want to see those? It's going to be on WSOF.com.
Okay. Or NBCSports.com.
Okay. So if you want to see the prelims, get on WSOF.com or NBCSport.com to watch the prelims. I suggest you do because a couple of my teammates are on there, and I'll be very upset if you don't. Ray, thanks for spending some time with us here on MMA Oddsbreaker. Good luck. Have some fun on October 11th. It's gonna be a great night for you guys. I can't wait to watch you guys work again.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.